Social media, fun and games for teens, but it's the Wild West for sex predators.
Does everybody know what a pedophile is and a predator is?
Clinical psychologist Dr. Lisa Strohman will lead the discussion.
I would expect that parents would be shocked a little bit, and I think that some of them might be really worried at some of the access that their kids have had. If you can open your hearts and your minds with your kids and not be judgmental and let them share with you, they won't restrict that information. And if they don't do that, then the kids are going to hide it and they're going to suppress it, and you're never going to know what they're doing online.
What, in your opinion, is causing this massive increase when you're talking about middle school students and suicide rates?
I see a lot of it based on technology use, that they're exposed to it over and over again, and they don't really have a break from it. 24 hours a day, they don't ever have time to kind of recoil, reset, and recharge themselves. First and foremost, you have to have those rules and guidelines with your kids ahead of time, so that you have an open policy to have a conversation with them. And parents have to be parents. I think a lot of times the kids are in control. That's what I see in my office. The kids are the ones that are calling the shots. And so I really counseled the parents. I was like, you're in charge. You get to make this decision. Right.
But then there's addiction.
Right.
There you go. Where's the line?
It's a tricky one to say. You know, I really work with kids, and I hate to use the word addiction with really young kids because you don't want to put a label on them. So I tend to use overuse when they're young because I know it's reversible. And I know that we can fix that in them if we get to it early enough.
Alexandra first saw a tablet or a phone, even when she couldn't speak, she just went, and it scared me. And I said, get those things away from her. I don't want her to see those things. And I know, Matt, this is something that you're struggling with currently. You have 3 kids, and you say they're all addicted to technology.
They are. And I mean, let me say this, because I'm very leery about what I allow people to speak into my life and my children. And I could say that I've been spending time off camera with Dr. Lisa, and phenomenal. I'm not saying this to patronize you, but her approach, her knowledge, working with the government, and like, she knows what she's talking about. So vulnerably, I came to her, and I will admit, my kids are addicted.
I'd say probably 75% of America doesn't do that, but that would be ideal, because we don't know on that neuronal growth and where their brains are born. They don't have even like the eye motor coordination to actually pay attention. So everything that we do is so purposeful that, you know, throwing catch, throwing balls, crawling, all of those things get restricted if they're spending time on the tablet because they just sit there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I work with a lot of teenagers. I go into middle schools and high school across the nation. I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I've been screaming as loud as I possibly can, and as a clinical practitioner who's working with kids, that this was coming. I think in the last decade, there's a 200% increase in suicides for girls aged 10 to 14. So I see a direct correlation. I've been working in a clinical practice since phones came out. And it is a huge crisis that I think that the American people need to wake up, globally we need to wake up to, actually. The amount of content that we take in, just as Americans, we have 6 newspapers worth of data that we're taking in per day. Try to do that with a young child who's gotten their first cell phone, or they don't really have a lot of oversight and they have a bunch of apps on it. The amount of content and information that they're looking and previewing on that device is incredibly high. And it's all oftentimes from peers, not nice. So you've got a lot of trending going around where kids are saying KYS, which means kill yourself, and they make fun of you, and they just can't hide. They can't home and disappear anymore.
Do you see it come into your practice first? Is that how it started?
Actually, I was working at the FBI, and I was in Quantico with the profiling division, and I was working happily on other issues, on abductions and things like that that I was hired to do at the time by Louis Freeh. But now, when I was there in '99, Columbine happened. And so I was thrust into this world of being able to see what the profilers did, throwing up Harris and Klebold and digesting everything at the time that they had done online.
Comment. I believe it may have been in the TED Talk that you did, which was fabulous. You said you likened it to the tobacco industry going after addicting people with their product. And you said the difference is the tobacco industry was after your lungs. These guys are after your soul.
Absolutely.
I literally leaned back in my chair when you said that. I thought, wow. I mean, what are the Zuckerbergs of the world and these folks think about when you say something that strong?
You know, I will say that after my TED Talk, there was somebody that came up to me and asked me what I was going to do when the tech industry came after me. And I really thought about it for a second, and I just said, you know, I'd welcome a moral, ethical conversation about making the right decision and doing the right thing. And that person said to me, be careful what you wish for. You know,
What did that mean?
You know, 2 decades of research exists out there in a global scientific community. It's not just the United States. We have Asia, we have India. There are millions of reports out there of how it is impacting our brain. So I wonder what the burden of proof is, right? So if you think about the tobacco industry, how many years did we understand that we actually knew that there was damage happening? So how many kids have to die? How many kids have to harm themselves? That's what my question is to the industry before you start to self-regulate and take accountability.